Hey guys, welcome back to Ahead of the Lane. This is a new episode after a long time of not doing anything. I decided to, just put on the camera and start recording and talk about something exciting. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, this is for you guys to decide because let's discuss this. Let's talk about this and let's recap, how things happened and what led us to the position we're in right now. Now, you know that the season that just ended, Mourinho got sacked right before the Carabao Cup final. And this is something I have to explain because when Mourinho got sacked, and as someone who is Jose out, I was not a fan of the timing of it. Now, Mourinho getting sacked was one of the correct steps that we should have taken a long time ago. Now, anyone who expected that sacking Mourinho would immediately mean that all our problems are fixed is wrong. Mourinho was one of the bigger problems we had, but it's not like he was the only problem. No, he was one of the many problems that is at our club. And now we're in the mess we are in because not only did Mourinho get sacked, at a very bad timing, like right before the Carabao Cup final, and then we lost the Carabao Cup final. Like it was just bad timing all around. And, fast forward, we end the season by barely making the Conference League, and this is a good thing, by the way. Like having European football, even if it's some Tingus Pingus Conference League competition, it's actually better than nothing. And we're looking for a manager. We started looking for Graham Potter, who's now going to go to Everton. That's something Levy bottled. And then we go for Eric Ten Hag, and Ajax, triggered the extension clause in Eric's contract, and he's now staying for one more year at Ajax. So Levy bottled that as well. We go for Pochettino, and PSG also triggered the clause to extend Pochettino's contract. He bottled a third manager, okay? And then there was Conte, who initially was not in our plans. You know, now the more we know, the more we realize that Levy has no plan. But then Conte started demanding a good budget. He started demanding staff. He started demanding salaries. He started demanding things that makes him feel like he is serious about the job and he's ready to start a project. And what does Daniel Levy do? Daniel Levy says no to the guy that won the Serie A. After years of dominance from Juventus in the Serie A, the guy who comes and changes everything with Inter is being told no by Daniel Levy. And that's when, like, I think it triggered a switch within me. And I decided to be from someone who honestly gave Enoch and Daniel Levy the benefit of the doubt, and usually I do defend them a lot, to someone who's very against them. Like, this is a bad move from Levy on all fronts. And now, we're sitting there with almost like 50 days without any manager. Who else do we go to? You know, Allegri went to Juventus. Who's available? Now, speaking of Juventus, we got Juventus's director of football, Paratici. Now, this is a great move, and I'll commend Levy for getting him. He was the one who discovered Conte, coincidentally, and he's friends with Conte. And getting him could have pushed Conte to join us, but unfortunately, he didn't. Conte didn't feel the seriousness that he wanted from Daniel Levy. And it just makes a lot of sense. Now Paratici wasn't even announced, and he's already working on the players that should be sold, and the players that should be bought, and the managers that we should hire. And we've all campaigned, and we've all said that Levy should take a step back and give more power to someone who understands the football side of the club. And we got Paratici, and we were happy, and we're like, thank God, someone who gets football. No more Levy. No more Levy. And then the first thing Paratici does is, you know, get Fonseca, the former Roma manager Fonseca. And what do we as a fan base do? Complain and whine about how Fonseca is not good enough. Now hold on a sec. Weren't we the same people that said Daniel Levy should take a step back and we should get a director of football to manage us, to manage our football activities? We got him, and he wants Fonseca. He believes in Fonseca and Fonseca's ideology. I mean, give the guy a chance. I know he's not the guy with the best CV in the market. And I feel like because we were in conversations with Conte and with Pochettino, that Fonseca feels like a disappointment. It feels underwhelming. And I understand that. And honestly, I do share that feeling. But we have to distinguish something very important. And that is that Fonseca being hired isn't Fonseca's fault. This is a guy who is without a job. He got a call from Spurs and they were asking for him to manage the team. And he said yes. And that's all, that's all it is. He's a guy who is a professional, who's going to work hard and give his best. And I cannot hate on him and pile on him because, the way social media reacted to the news was very negative. And I'm not trying to say that you should never feel bad. You should feel bad. But honestly, we should direct our disappointment and our frustration to a different person. Not to Paratici, not to Fonseca, but to Levy. Daniel Levy, the guy who bottled all the managers we were after. And he put us in a situation we're in that forces Paratici to get Fonseca. Now, why do I believe that we should give Fonseca a chance? Because, you know, people say that it's not ambitious. Fonseca is not an ambitious manager. It's not an ambitious appointment. Now, that's very subjective. We could talk about what ambition really means and what it doesn't mean and what it could mean and all of that. But in short, I'm just gonna say that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different, outcome is madness. It's madness. And the same thing we always do is let Levy make the calls, and when it fails, we just do the same thing. We give Levy the power to make decisions, and Levy fails, and the outcome isn't good, and then we give him an opportunity to make decisions after decisions, and they're all a failure. And that's the craziest thing that is that we keep giving Levy too much leeway, and all his ideas are a failure. Now, this is something different. We're doing something different now. We have a director of football. Former Juventus director of football is now our director of football. And the first decision he makes is get Fonseca. This is a new project. This is a new person implementing a different way. Okay, we should try something new, okay, for a different outcome. We keep doing the same thing and we keep failing, and then we wonder why we never win trophies. It's because of Levy and everything Levy does. And that's what Paratici is here for. It's his idea, it's his, vision, and it's how he sees things. And I think we should give him a chance. What do we have to lose? We haven't won a trophy in 20 years. What do we have to lose trying something different? If it works, it's a foundation to something we can build on in the future. If it doesn't, we try something else and make it work. Because we've tried the Levy recipe for 20 years. Never worked. So I think we should give Fonseca a chance. Not just, because he's Paratici's recommendation, but more because I need to dispel some myths. Now, one of the myths that I hear was that he was bad at Roma. Now, I've personally spoken to a lot of Roma fans on Twitter, and I've even retweeted some of their replies. None of them blame the way Roma was on Fonseca. He was facing things out of his control. So there was not much Paratici could do as well. Plus, the injuries and the lack of funding he was given and all those problems. And he actually went from one formation to the other, trying to cope with all these problems, all these leaks in his system and in his fuck. Now, I honestly think we should give Fonseca a chance. Not just because he was Paratici's choice, as I've mentioned earlier, but also because we have to dispel some myths here. He wasn't a bad manager at Roma whatsoever. I've spoken with a lot of Roma fans on Twitter. I've even retweeted some of their stuff. And none of them blame Fonseca for the way Roma was. He was fourth in the league, 20 games in, when he was just going through barely any injuries. And then when he was announced that he was going to get sacked, that's when everything went bad. That's when the board pulled out all their money and they weren't going to back him. It just went bad. Now, the other thing that's probably on your minds is, who is Fonseca? In the most simple terms, Fonseca is a possession based manager. He likes to keep possession, he likes to hold the ball, he likes to control and, dictate the tempo of the match. He's very patient, he doesn't build up fast, he doesn't counter fast. He's just patiently passing and waiting for the right moment to play a quick attack. And that's in the most simple ways I could explain it to you. I can go on details. That's his style. It's very, very reminiscent of Ten Hag, of Nagelsmann, of Tuchel, of Graham Potter. Very similar. I'm not going to say identical, but it's in a similar way with probably less speed than you might expect. Like he doesn't play really fast football. It's more possession and being patient and trying to wait for a gap to go through and attack. Defensively, he's very sound. He likes to press, but his main objective is to keep structure. He likes to play a high line and condense, the midfield. He likes to compress it and make it really tight and make it really hard for anyone to play freely in the middle of the pitch. He's a very, very stable manager who plays very positive, very attacking football. And I personally have watched him, with the Ukrainian team Shakhtar, and he's done wonders there. He's played beautiful football. He plays 4-2-3-1 formation with Shakhtar, but in Roma he played with three at the back during the attack and five at the back during defense. But the philosophy remains the same: attacking football, possession based, start from the back, exploit the wings, and make your wingers invert. That's how he plays, and he's very charismatic. By the way, he's very good with talking to the press. He knows how to express himself. He's very confident. He has a personality where he believes in hard work. He believes that training and drilling the players and telling them how to move is how you win matches. He believes in, telling players and instructing them how to move. And we've seen that when Shakhtar actually knocked out Manchester City from the round of 16 of the Champions League, by drilling players to do specific things. How did he do that? He'd make Manchester City, Guardiola's side, play out wide. And when they play out wide, they compress and condense the midfield in such a way that they cannot attack from within. So they have to just rely on crosses, and they keep crossing and they lose possession. And then with just a few passes, Shakhtar was able to knock them out. And that's how he plays. Very, very patient man, very pragmatic, but also knows how to attack. And he's done really well at Shakhtar. People will say at Roma he didn't do well, the bad results and everything. But given the conditions that were out of his control, I'd say, and a lot of Roma fans I've spoken to would say that he's really good. And I just want to say, we should calm down. It's not a bad appointment. From the ambitious sense, it's ambitious. From the excitement, I could say it's not as exciting. He is not a well known manager. But is Fonseca a bad manager? Hardly. Trust me. You know, he's not whatsoever. He has a clear idea, he has a clear philosophy, he knows what to do. He just needs backing, which hopefully Paratici could force Levy's hands. I'm not saying you should back him. I'm not saying you should believe in him. I'm not saying you should trust him. I'm saying give him a chance. Don't write him off too soon. Wait a few months. For a successful team to win something, we have to have harmony between the board and between the management. So if Paratici and Fonseca can have harmony with Daniel Levy and they can both work together and compromise, which is not going to happen under Conte, by the way. I mean, who knows? Who knows? We have to be optimistic. We have to look forward. Fonseca is a young manager. He has bright ideas. He's very well versed with the modern ways of football. The big names of football like Guardiola speak highly of him. So why not give him a chance? And he's won trophies, so he's not someone who doesn't know what winning feels like. He's not Graham Potter. I mean, maybe you could argue that Potter did win with the Scandinavian teams he's managed, but Fonseca does have trophies in the Portuguese league and the Ukrainian league, so he is a winner. And we're coming towards the end of this episode. What do you guys think? Do you think Fonseca would be successful? Do you think he would flop? Do you think we wrote him off too soon? You think he should be given a chance? Do you guys think Paratici actually sees something that we don't? And I'm excited to hear what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed this episode and stay safe.